Go home and take a few days to recuperate. Let me help deliver a message to your boss for you. If he comes to harass again, I will personally go find him. As soon as the words fell, this unique little thing turned into a red bean. Genies quickly fled the scene. Through this battle, Genies remembered that the target person could instantly turn bullets into dust. And he can anticipate his own sniping position. He can also turn the red beans into extremely fast and lethal creatures. Today is April 23rd. It's the most humiliating day in Genie's life. The target person has crossed out today's unfortunate day with a pin. He thought to himself that there shouldn't be any other events this month. Then he calculated with his fingers and ended up with April 25th. That's the day after tomorrow, very auspicious. And this person is none other than Fengxian occultist, Xianyu Xiao. The bright moon hangs high. Xianyu Xiao is somewhat looking forward to meeting some important person. Returning to Tang Ka's side, Tang Ka carried Zhuang Xiaoran back to their residence. At this time, the Yaogui spirit initially taken in by Tang Ka was also released. It persistently clung to Tang Ka and grew closer to him. In this room, there were surprisingly more than 100 Yaogui spirits hidden. At this moment, a formation in the room suddenly lit up, illuminating the Tang Ka hanging on the wall. Unexpectedly, Lang Ting, the highest ruler of the spirit city, was then transferred over. Just as they were chatting casually, a formation suddenly appeared inside Tang Ka's room. And this is the portal that connects to another world, the Zodiac, through which the person who was brought over is a guest to Tang Ka. But for the Yaogui spirits, he is the king they must worship. In the current human world, only a part of the Yaogui spirits remain, while the majority have gone to a place called the second world, Langting, the spirit city. Today, the one being transmitted is indeed the highest ruler of that world, known as Sir One-Eye 5. With that, the Yaogui spirit fell to its knees, devoutly welcoming and wholeheartedly expressing its support and admiration for its king. At this moment, a figure slowly emerged from the zodiac. Unexpectedly, this respected Sir One-Eye 5 from the Yaoguis. Really, as the name suggests, One-Eye 5 adorable little bodies. At this moment, Zhuang Xiaoran felt a hint of unusualness. She could see the true form or the strength of the spirit aura of all the Yaogui spirits she had seen before. For example, those two charging wolf spirits she had encountered before appeared to her with wolf-like ghostly shadows, and she could sense a very strong spirit aura from them. But the Sir One-Eye 5 in front of her is just like Tang Ka. He couldn't sense any spirit aura in him at all. The existence of breath like air actually makes people feel even more creepy. But Tang Ka looked relaxed and casually said, "Back again? I'll play a game and then go to sleep, you guys do whatever." I didn't expect Sir One-Eye 5 to be quite polite as well. If it weren't for the respectful Yaya in front of us, it would be impossible to tell that this is Langting, the spirit city's chief Yaogui. Sir One-Eye 5 stood solemnly with his arms crossed and said sternly, "Hand over those things to us." Yaya respectfully brought a box over. "I didn't expect that, sir. One-Eye 5 came this time just to have a game of LOL. The night is dark and windy, as a round bright moon is gradually covered by dark clouds. Inside a dilapidated factory, a truck slowly drives in. The master and servant have waited for this cargo for a long time, as cigarette butts on the ground can attest. The servant claimed that the other party's emotions were extremely unstable, and that he needed to go forward to inspect the situation. Just then, there was a commotion in the truck's carriage. The metal sides of the carriage were forcefully pierced by many spikes. As the carriage was opened, one saw the crimson eyes inside the truck. The young master unexpectedly shed tears of excitement. And inside this truck is none other than a captive Yaogui spirit. This Yaogui spirit has a tiger body and a snake head. It is the legendary Ghost Mother. The man in front is the young master of Power Crane Corporation, Li Dongsheng. At this moment, he is so excited that he is moved to tears because he has found the legendary Yaogui spirit Ghost Mother. The powerful Ghost Mother burst out of the container and fiercely declared that she would eat the two people in front of her, with Li Dongsheng's servant standing in front of him, stating that based on the cultivation level, humans should address you as a senior. Legend says that humans also regard you as the Ghost Mother. But in fact, besides being able to give birth to many Yaogui spirits, your own combat power is not even at the A level. After saying that, the servant revealed his true form, which turned out to be a giant python covered with scales all over its body. At this tense moment, Li Dongsheng, following the principle of harmony brings wealth, stepped forward to negotiate. He claimed that he only invited Ghost Mother to come over to ask for a small favor from you. Help me produce a Yaogui spirit. If things succeed, not only will I let you go, but I will also give you enough money to last you a lifetime. After all, Power Crane Corporation is one of the 4 major financial groups supporting the Yaoguai City division. Ghost Mother, knowing that the person in front of her is a prince of the financial group, dare not act rashly. She broke into the warehouse wanting to escape, but did not expect that Ghost Mother's long-lost son was actually in the hands of Li Dongsheng. The news hit Ghost Mother's heart like a bolt from the blue. On the other hand, at the same time, the thugs of Power Crane Corporation are trying to capture a young boy, who is Ghost Mother's son. The boy helplessly hides in a corner, manages to evade the pursuers, and runs wildly away. After successfully evading the pursuit and running wildly, he stumbled and fell to the ground, holding his head and crying in pain. A sense of unwillingness surged within him, fueled by the desire to avenge his mother, causing him to lose his composure. This state was coincidentally noticed by a young girl who happened to be passing by. She was taken aback by the sight of the child in front of her. Meanwhile, a surveillance camera on the wall happened to capture the scene. The young girl quickly stepped forward and dragged the boy away. Because of the current state of the boy, if he is captured on surveillance, it won't end well. There are millions of cameras installed by the Yaoguai City division throughout the city. Even spirit-type Yaoguai spirits can be detected. Once the system discovers that he has blatantly exposed his identity as a Yaoguai spirit, he will be sent back to Langting, the spirit city. The girl claimed, "It's a good thing you met me, because I am from the Yaoguai City division." Upon hearing this, the young boy quickly distanced himself, full of hostility. He expressed that his mother was his only relative. She said she only has her mother as a relative, who was also taken away by you humans. When the young girl heard this, "This is serious. She is preparing to report to headquarters." But the little boy was not grateful. He thought the little girl in front of him must want to send someone to catch him. He would not trust humans like his mother did. At this point, the little girl indeed only wanted to help the little boy. She then decided not to inform the headquarters. She firmly declared, "I, Jingxi, solemnly swear in the name of the secretary of the commander of the Yaoguai City division that I will definitely help you rescue your mother." This little girl is not simple. She can be sweet, salty, and can also fight. The little boy never expected that the Yaoguai City division, named Jingxi, would sincerely want to help him. At the moment when the little boy was stunned, a burst of green light spread out. A motorcycle suddenly appeared out of thin air. The night darkened slightly. Jingxi dashed toward their destination swiftly with the little boy. During the journey, Jingxi learned why the little boy disliked the Yaoguai City division. It was because the little boy felt that many rules in the Dreadstop Treaty were unfair to the Yaoguai spirits. The little boy's mother didn't dare to resist when she was taken away. At that moment, the little boy suddenly shouted that he wanted to turn left. Because the little boy has a very sensitive nose, he has already sniffed out his mother's scent wafting from this direction. Jingxi continued to accelerate, trying to shorten the rescue time. In the blink of an eye, Jingxi arrived at the abandoned factory with the little boy. Just saw Jingxi alone in front of the rolling shutter door. She took off the hairpin from her hair. Her golden hair cascaded down. She now wielded an unexpected dagger. Before starting her clerical job, she was once a member of the Yaoguai City Division Spirit Hunting. Jingxi led the young boy into the factory. But inside there was no one, only a strong smell of diesel. There seemed to have been a large truck here recently, and there was a big hole in the factory roof. Jingxi couldn't help but wonder if the young boy's mother had already escaped. At this moment, the little boy lay on the ground sniffing carefully. He clearly felt the smell of his mother coming from the ground. I saw Jingxi with one hand on the ground, a strong green gas enveloping the ground. Sure enough, there is a hidden passage underground. It looks like a freight elevator shaft. Jingxi led the little boy down the freight elevator shaft. At this moment, a man was waiting at the door exit for their arrival. Jingxi immediately identified herself as a member of the Yaoguai City division, but it did not have any effect. The person in front ignited a cigarette calmly, claiming to only take orders from the young master. And the command the young master gave himself was to kill any intruders without mercy. Just as the words fell, 6 doppelgangers sprang from his body, instantly becoming a 7-on-1 situation. Unexpectedly, Jingxi remained calm and without the slightest panic. The long sword in her hand instantly transformed from solid to liquid. Her eyes locked onto each target in the blink of an eye. Jingxi swept past with the shadows of the knives moving swiftly, so fast that one couldn't even react in time. Jingxi has already taken care of the 6 men in front of him and rushed towards the real target. She kicked him right in the face with tremendous force. She forcefully kicked and shattered the iron gate behind her, and in this scene, was clearly seen by the butler in the control room. I would gladly admit that she is the strongest civil servant. Jingxi continued to move deeper with the little boy. As they got closer and closer to the target, the scent of the mother also became stronger. Jingxi judged based on experience that since there are guards outside, there must also be some here. She instructed the little boy to stick closer, but before she could finish her sentence, a gust of wind passed by. A servant in its original form scooped up the little boy. At a critical moment, Jingxi quickly wrapped her arm with green smoke. The next moment, her arm unexpectedly stretched eerily and successfully rescued the little boy. The servant was not angry but rather delighted, claiming that he had just received news that the child was missing and unexpectedly came to him. But your arm can actually stretch, which is really unexpected. At this moment, a trace of venom oozed from the servant's fingertips. Jingxi maintained a righteous attitude in the Yaogui City division. The battle began in an instant. The servant covered his entire body with tough scales, and his snake-like eyes were calm and sharp. Jingxi also changed her usual self, becoming serious and focused, her slender jade-like fingers tightly gripping the knife handle. The commanding posture from a commanding position, the servant trying to gain the upper hand. She uses a horizontal sword technique, blocking and deflecting the force. Each strike from the servant was accurately neutralized by Jingxi. In this brief exchange, Jingxi has already shown remarkable skill. Just as the servant was about to charge forward, Jingxi, with both hands gripping the knife, unexpectedly completely anticipated the servant's movement. With one swift strike, Feng Xianzi almost severely wounded the servant. This blow also made the servant reevaluate the seemingly insignificant young girl in front of him. I didn't expect this woman to swiftly counterattack the moment I touched the ground. Her reaction speed is beyond human limits. Moreover, the blade aura formed by the person in front of me could clearly strike me from the air, but they intentionally missed the opportunity and released it towards the ground. And the reverse beheading strike just now left a deep trench on the ground. Jingxi touched the tip of her sword, claiming that this sword is called Black Iris, made from obsidian meteoric iron. No matter what scales are attached to the body, it is not worth mentioning. Jingxi confidently said, I don't want to harm you, so I advise you to give up resistance. I didn't expect the servant to not give in but instead took off the outer garment to reveal their scales, which are considered to be of high hardness even among Yaogui spirits. Is it your sharp blade or my tough armor that will prevail? In this current state, the servant shows no sign of giving up easily. In that case, Jingxi also became serious. Spirit aura slowly accumulates, a huge energy engulfing the whole body, even the golden hair floating in the air. Jingxi gradually became more serious as spirit aura slowly gathered. Her powerful strike this time is bound to be extraordinary. I saw Jingxi spinning rapidly, surrounded by a green halo. But after this strong aura passed, there was no reaction. Just as the servant felt that the person in front of them was playing tricks, the smoke suddenly dispersed. Jingxi slashed across the chest, appearing indifferent and thoughtless. This slash is named Datura, flower slash. Several slashes suddenly appeared simultaneously, chopping towards the enemy. Invisible yet substantial blade energy that catches opponents off guard. The convergence of slashes resulting in a massive explosion. Jingxi is very confident in her own attacks. She has already put away her sword and reinserted it on top of her head. She slowly walked towards the fog. The little boy looked at Jingxi's back and couldn't help feeling shocked. From the beginning, she transformed a motorcycle, then revealed the entrance to the secret passage. Not only could she fight, but she could also enlarge or extend her weapons and arms. What exactly is the ability of the big sister? But suddenly, at this moment, the little boy's vision blurred, and he fell weakly to the ground. Jingxi also looked shocked. What happened to the little boy? He's been poisoned. The servant's voice sounded coldly, and the smoke dispersed. Just now, the sword energy formed by the spirit aura didn't cause any harm at all. Just when Jingxi was shocked, she suddenly felt dizzy. Jingxi was unexpectedly poisoned, the servant said. Right now, you will only feel dizzy, gradually becoming weak, feeling chest tightness, and then experiencing numbness all over the body, until completely losing the ability to fight. And being stabbed by your own poison needle, not completely aware that while carrying away the child just now, you've already injected toxins into Jingxi and the other person. But fortunately, The servant used the mildest and slowest acting toxin, which will not be life-threatening. He just did it to prevent them from entering the laboratory. Waiting for the young master to succeed in the experiment, he will inject another type of toxin. Make them forget everything that happened tonight. Just as the servant's fingers were waggling in front of Jingxi, suddenly a large amount of green smoke gushed out. The next second, Jingxi actually disappeared into thin air. This strange ability also caused the servant to fail for the first time. It turns out that Jingxi did not disappear into thin air, but instead shrank herself and the little boy together. She took advantage of the enemy's inattention and quickly escaped from the scene. In Jingxi's heart, the only person who can help her now is Tang Ka. Objects formed by the transformation of attachments or grudges after a person's death. Formed by the transformation of spiritual aura long absorbed from other living beings by plants or inanimate objects. The creatures formed by animals cultivating spirit aura themselves are called yaoguai. Creatures that appeared earlier than humans and possess great destructive power are called gods. At this moment, Tang Ka is spreading basic knowledge about this world to Zhuang Xiaoran. All things in the world have spirit aura, which can be understood as a kind of mystical energy. The energy of a human is called spirit aura, while that of a demon is called demon aura. Humans possess spirit aura from birth. It's just that it hasn't been awakened. If it is awakened one day, extraordinary abilities beyond regular people will be obtained. However, for most people, their spirit aura will not be awakened unless they cultivate it themselves. There are also a very small number of people who are born with their spirit aura fully awakened. This type of person is what is often referred to as a superhuman in movies. But in this world they are called freelancers. For example, I've met Xiaozin before. However, this type of freelancer generally does not join the Yaoguai City division. Some may work as bodyguards for the wealthy, but in order to avoid standing out, most of them hide their abilities. Just as the explanation was being given, there was a sudden urgent knocking on the door. As the door opened, Jingxi's body suddenly went limp and she fell into Tang Ka's arms. And there was also a little boy behind her who had fainted. Servants reported that the intruder in the factory was from the Yaoguai City division. This place is not suitable for a long stay. The contact has been made with the second experimental base. At this moment, the data of the Yaoguai spirit has been successfully matched. The young master couldn't help but burst into tears, saying, "Luo Yuan, I finally found a way to resurrect you." April 25th, which is just 2 days away. Jingxi finally wakes up. She explained the whole story of what had happened. The only one who can help the little boy now is Tang Ka, but he must have completed the transfer by now. It will take a long time to find his mother's location, but the little boy has a keen sense of smell. She thinks it's worth a try. The little boy stood on the balcony carefully sensing his mother's scent. Persistence pays off, and after many attempts, he finally caught a faint scent. He was able to determine his mother's location from this. Tang Ka is now also ready, preparing to unleash his skills with wind borrowing. Not long after, Tang Ka pierced through the base's defense like a cannonball. This made the servant extremely scared. This building has outer walls that are missile-resistant. It was easily broken through, and at this moment Tang Ka was shouting recklessly with dust flying all around. A large hole was knocked into the ceiling of the base. The servant took the opportunity to dodge behind Tang Ka and stabbed at his neck with a poison needle. Unexpected. Didn't even touch the skin, yet the poison needle broke. Tang Ka turned around and slapped the servant with a big slap, directly knocking him to the ground. The Yaoguai spirit, who was formidable just a second ago, was slapped to the ground in the next second. The Yaoguai spirit in front of him, named Hook Snake, intended to use poisonous needles to deal with Tang Ka, but did not expect that they couldn't pierce through. In the end, it was slapped to the ground by Tang Ka. It turns out that Hook Snake itself is also an A-level Yaoguai spirit. But the strength of this young man in front of him is really abnormal, right? Given the situation, Hook Snake can't engage directly either. He then spat out a mouthful of venom. The pungent smell instantly enveloped Tang Ka. This is Hook Snake's most potent poison. Once the skin comes into contact with it, it immediately swells up, causing the body to stiffen instantly and unable to move. The internal organs will decompose and necrotize. The burning pain is like swallowing a hot iron. If not detoxified in time, not even immortals can save you. The spread of this poison gas is so fast that within seconds, it can fill the entire room. No one can escape even with wings. But it is unexpected that this proud poison gas. In Tang Ka's eyes, It is nothing more than a flashy technique to use talisman to subdue opponents and flexibly employ wind borrowing. He easily dispersed the poison gas, but he still found the poison gas a bit overbearing. Made Tang Ka vomit, but he did not lose his ability. This situation has already exceeded the cognitive ability of Hook's snake. The person in front of us must be from the hidden atelier of the Dao, able to control the wind technique. I must use all my strength now. Suddenly, two serpentine tentacles appeared out of thin air behind Hook's snake, looking fierce with blood on its fangs. Hook's snake takes the lead in diving forward and leaps into the air. From the mouth of the tentacle behind, countless poisonous needles were ejected. Unexpectedly, Tang Ka does not avoid them. Even the poisonous needles shot towards the eyes bend at the moment before touching the skin. Tang Ka never blinked his eyes from start to finish. The poisonous needles shot through the sky as if hitting steel. The poisonous needles that can easily penetrate even armored vehicles surprisingly left Tang Ka unharmed. In the surprised moment of Hook's snake, Tang Ka had already flashed behind Hook's snake. He struck with a hand chop on the back of Hook's snake's neck, the tremendous force causing Hook's snake to sink deeply into the ground. The young master looked at the battle situation on the screen and quickly dialed Xin Yuxiu's phone number. He asked her to hurry over and help him. At this time, Xin Yuxiu was still sitting at home observing the night sky. He looked at the auspicious day today. He couldn't help but show a hint of joy on his face. At the same time, the Yaoguai spirit incubated in the laboratory finally reached the limits of the host, breaking free from the body at this crucial moment. The fallen Hook snake once again moved vigorously. He sneakily attacked Tang Ka from underground, bursting out of the ground and catching Tang Ka off guard, slamming him into the ground. The true form of Hook's snake was completely revealed. This Yaoguai spirit is known for its defense, as it surprisingly emerged unscathed after taking a punch from Tang Ka. The Hook snake in front of them transformed into its true form to protect the young master. Its black scales were like steel armor, and its protruding spines were extremely lethal. Tang Ka also took it a bit more seriously, clenching his fist tightly and preparing for a powerful strike. The immense force made the Hook snake's body unstable, but it did not cause substantial harm. Instead, Hook snake seized the opportunity to use its tail to hit Tang Ka's waist. With this blow, Hook snake used all its strength, sending Tang Ka flying like a banana tree in the rain. He fell heavily against the wall, and in that instant, Hook snake's attacks came again like a dense downpour. The dense attacks and immense power instantly shattered the impregnable defenses. Although this Hook snake is an A-rank Yaoguai spirit, its scale defense ability is actually A-rank as well. Just as the Hook snake was proudly displaying its invincible defense, mocking laughter suddenly came from above, claiming that while the defensive power is impressive, the look in its eyes is not very effective. A few days ago, he encountered two A-rank charging wolves. If we were to categorize them as A-rank lower-tier A-level creatures, then at least you belong to the middle-tier A-level. As soon as the words fell, Tang Ka used a gold attribute talisman to press down on him. A move called Form and Spirit as One transformed the golden flow of spirit aura and attached it onto the slippers. The soft and loose slippers suddenly showed a golden glow at this moment. It is held tightly in the hand like a weapon that has been tempered 1,000 times. Hook snake saw that he was actually using slippers as weapons, which was obviously underestimating himself. But the moment the slippers touched his body, it was like being hit by a giant meteor on the head. This kind of power made the snake head crash to the ground like a falling meteor, shattering the ground, and the remaining force in the body swung the snake tail into the air. This blow almost destroyed the entire ground. Tang Ka used a slipper to cast the borrow gold talisman, not underestimating the Hook snake. Just attach the gold flow to the fist. I'm afraid that at this moment, Hook snake is not just losing combat power so simply. After Tang Ka dealt with Hook snake, he finally entered the interior of the laboratory. He kicked open the laboratory door, but what he saw in front of him shocked Tang Ka. Meanwhile, Xin Yuxiu leisurely rode a bicycle downstairs. He obviously didn't care about the young master of Power Crane Corporation, but instead thought of today's auspicious hexagram, unknowingly feeling happy and smiling. Even a playboy has moments of realization. Those deeply in love will ultimately end tragically. In Yaoguai City Division Spirit Hunting, the personnel are ranked from strong to weak as A, B, C, and D. Each rank is further divided into 3 categories. For example, A rank has top, middle, and lower. The entire Lusang Prefecture has only 10 A-rank Yaoguai City Division members, of which 3 are top A-rank. S-rank Yaoguai Spirit requires at least 5 A-rank Yaoguai City Division members to defeat, but only one top A-rank member is needed to contend with it. Among these 3 top A-rank Yaogui City Division members, Tang Ka is the strongest and also ranks first in spirit hunting achievements. However, Tang Ka is too easily provoked precisely because of being too powerful. Therefore, when undertaking tasks, Tang Ka is not very keen on using their brain. The current situation is indeed not very optimistic. Jingxi mentioned that the mother of that young boy was captured for experimentation. However, the only Yaogui spirit tied to the experimentation table here is only this one. Although rescue efforts are ongoing, the Yaogui aura has become very weak. In addition to this, there is a human male who has had his spirit drained on the scene. There is also a Yaogui spirit corpse on the ground. The young master Li Dongshang from Power Crane Corporation was in tears, kneeling down on the ground. It turned out that just a few minutes ago, the Yaogui spirit broke out of Ghost Mother's body, erupting with numerous receptors. The experimental body was successfully incubated, but 99% of the incubation body showed signs of life with unconscious brains. Only one incubation body showed signs of life with a fully functioning consciousness. Unexpectedly, this experimental body actually has its own consciousness and thoughts. This Yaogui spirit actually embodies an aggregation of evil personalities. He first absorbed the male driver who accidentally killed himself without any reason. The delicious taste of souls makes this Yaogui spirit feel like floating and desiring immortality. Immediately, he opened the slaughter mode and absorbed the vitality of all the other test subjects. He turned around and pounced towards the young master who was trying to resurrect himself. He claimed to be Luo Yuan, the one you have been longing for in your dreams, and the one you have painstakingly revived. Disappointment and fear surged up in his heart. The cynical young master shed tears of sadness at this moment. He raised his hand and shot through the body of the Yaogui spirit, putting an end to the longing he held dear with his own hands. And the Yaogui spirit after S no longer dominated consciousness at this time. The body also slowly returned to Luo Yuan's appearance. And Tang Ka happened to witness this heart-wrenching scene. Li Dongsheng ended his own yearning. For him, his heart is already empty, laughing wildly, somewhat mentally deranged. As for Ghost Mother, there are also no signs of life. This is undoubtedly a huge mistake for Tang Ka. At a critical moment, Tang Ka activates the golden eye. He seemed to have discovered something, feeling that there was still a turning point in this matter. Just at this moment, a gunshot rang out from behind. Li Dongsheng killed himself. In a daze of shame, Li Dongsheng appeared by the seaside. Luo Yuan, dressed in white, looked pure and serene. The gentle sea breeze swayed the hem of the skirt, brushed the hair, and also comforted Li Dongsheng's wounded soul. The two walked hand in hand by the seaside, under the lingering sunset glow. No more playboy, no more harmful Yaogui spirit. Only the love between each other. At this moment the hook snake, who had barely regained mobility, arrived at the scene, picked up the young master's body, and turned away in grief and sorrow. At this point, Xin Yuxiu finally arrived at the scene slowly. Still wearing a smile on his face, he showed no sign of sorrow or grief as he calmly approached the scene where the young master had already lost his life. He did not show any sadness either. Hook Snake felt something was wrong with this person since the day he joined the company. Now that the young master had passed away, he turned a blind eye to it, just as they passed by each other in a moment. Although he didn't do anything, every time Hook Snake saw him, he would feel a chill down his spine. Xiao Dao, I work as a strategist at Power Crane Corporation. If what's happening here gets out, it might affect the group's reputation. You can set any conditions. We are considered colleagues after all. Give me some face, how about that? Upon hearing this, Tang Ka realized that the person before him was an occultist who had laid hands on the chairman. Sure enough, this person is none other than the descendant of Fangxian occultist, who was secretly manipulating Black Bean Man. Tang Ka thought of his own mission and started to interact with the person in front of him. He claimed, "Why did you put the Bean Man in Wang Sun's ear? Fangxian occultist faction has long been wiped out. Who is your master?" Regarding these two questions, Xin Yuxiu said, although the four major financial conglomerates each have their main businesses, but it is inevitable to avoid conflicts of interest. As a strategist for Power Crane Corporation, I must definitely help the company secure more benefits. As for the second question, I can only disclose that our faction was indeed destroyed. It is not convenient for me to reveal my origins. But what Tang Ka most wants to ask is still the third question. I heard that the Fangxian faction specializes in cultivating internal alchemy and divination, and they are very skilled. Regarding being skilled, is this true? This indicates that Tang Ka just wants to have a couple of moves with the person in front of him. Xian Xiao naturally understands Tang Ka's intention and claims that everything has its cause and effect. It is destined that we meet each other, and discovering my green bean general may be the reason. Today you're encountering me again is the result. A few days ago, Xian Xiao cast a divination, and today is my auspicious day. I want this result to happen, so I will let it happen naturally. Therefore I accept your challenge. Tang Ka claims that if I can't solve it within 2 minutes, I will consider myself defeated. I won't naturally spread the news here. Xian Xiao believes that he cannot possibly beat Tang Ka, but wanting to defeat himself within 2 minutes. Isn't that underestimating himself too much? Tang Ka didn't waste time either, put down his phone and rushed over excitedly. Xian Xiao remained calm and composed, unlocking the seal with both hands. When she opened her eyes again, a faint light emerged, and the words Jia and Ja appeared clearly before her eyes. The adept use of the Daoist 9-word mantra by this occultist is unparalleled. Xian Xiao's eyes shimmered with a mysterious glow, and the characters Jia and Ja appeared in his eyes. Taoist techniques involve shifting stars and changing constellations. Xian Xiao only used one hand to firmly catch Tang Ka's straight punch. An invisible fluctuation caused ripples in the space. In the next second, Tang Ka found himself alone with no one in sight. Tang Ka clearly just knocked down the palm. He did not see it move. But in an instant Xian Xiao has already opened the battle line. And the surroundings have also become pitch black. Tang Ka is already trapped inside this barrier. Tang Ka observed that Xian Xiao just used hand seals and techniques. There must be some secret technique cast around here. But for now, it just seems like an instant movement within the black hood. As long as you observe carefully, you will definitely find a flaw. Xian Xiao still maintained a calm and indifferent demeanor, slowly raising his right fist. He threw a punch towards Tang Ka in front of him, who was initially at a distance from Xian Xiao. He unexpectedly appeared directly in front of Tang Ka. This punch suddenly appeared and landed squarely on Tang Ka's face. As this punch landed, Xian Xiao had once again distanced himself from Tang Ka. In this space he can not only shrink to an inch but also freely change Tang Ka's position. Xian Xiao's attack, like a teleportation, takes advantage of this point. Xian Xiao slowly lifts his left leg again. Sure enough, the next second he appeared in front of Tang Ka. This time he was successfully blocked by Tang Ka with his arm. He wrote miraculous on Tang Ka's face again. The afterimage of this blow has not yet disappeared, and he has already kicked towards the abdomen. The solid attack made Tang Ka's body retreat violently. At this moment, Xian Xiao was slightly surprised to hit himself with a punch and a kick, yet emerged unscathed. You are under the effects of the Golden Radiance spell, right? I didn't expect you to master this spell at such a young age. Seems I underestimated you. Tang Ka also became slightly serious at this time, claiming that it was his carelessness. After saying that, Lei Fei's talisman pressed down on him, covering his whole body with lightning patterns. This move completely overturned Xian Xiao. The boy in front of us unexpectedly knows 2 types of talisman techniques. People from the hidden atelier of the Dao are already very impressive if they can master a type of talisman technique proficiently by the age of 30. He actually didn't use a talisman as a medium, and was able to summon thunder borrowing on his own. How did this young man actually achieve this cultivation level? At this moment, Tang Ka covered his whole body with thunder technique, forming a barrier around the body, used to prevent Xian Xiao's close-range attacks. Xian Xiao couldn't help but praise the Mao faction for producing so many talented individuals. I really want to give you a prediction. Tang Ka doesn't mince words, saying you shouldn't talk nonsense. Your predictions are simply not accurate. He either hides his talent or doesn't use it. You would have been dead long ago. How could there be any lucky day for you? But the current rules have a 2-minute limit. If Tang Ka doesn't take action soon, he will definitely be defeated. As long as more than 2 minutes have passed, he will be considered the winner. Tang Ka had no other choice but to steel himself and risk causing trouble by using the lightning technique again. The 3 piercing thunders were compressed infinitely in his hand. This youth's lightning technique is similar to Zhang Xiaoran's, but the power is much stronger. At this moment, Xian Xiao was slightly surprised, not expecting Tang Ka to even possess the 3 piercing thunders, a thunder talisman art with such killing power. But Xian Xiao still has a solution. The pupils of his eyes shimmered with a faint light. Countless clones filled the hall, forming a barrier within. Tang Ka was momentarily unable to distinguish between reality and illusion, But his attack, the 3 piercing thunders, was not aimed at Xinyu Xiao. Only 3 compressed thunderballs were seen rushing toward the sky. In an instant, the barrier was shattered by the impact. The force of these 3 thunders is like crushing dry weeds and rotten wood. Rising straight into the clouds, the entire laboratory ceiling has been completely destroyed. Xinyu Xiao looked at the situation before her and said discontentedly, "If I'm hit, I'll either die or be injured." Tang Ka broke through the black hood at this moment, full of fighting spirit. He charged straight at Xinyu Xiao. Xinyu Xiao formed hand seals again. The 9-word mantra appeared again, locking onto Tang Ka. Invisible energy envelopes Tang Ka. The top of the connection is as mysterious and eerie as the river diagram and the Luo writing. At this moment, Tang Ka seems to be like a puppet on a string, manipulated by others. Although Tang Ka clearly sees that he has fallen under a spell, he shows no signs of it. Coupled with his confidence in his golden radiance spell protecting him, he rushes forward without hesitation. With the support of thunder magic, Tang Ka's attacks are as fierce as thunder and as fast as lightning. His speed has reached its peak. But he feels a hint of anomaly. Despite his speed being far above his opponent's, he completely misses hitting him. He can't help but associate it with the technique above his head. And at this moment, Xinyu Xiao looked at Tang Ka's offensive with a playful expression on his face. The next move of the attack has already been fully exposed in his mind. Tang Ka is ready to use spells in the next second. Although he is looking forward to what moves he will use. But he still needs to be cautious. Xinyu Xiao took a deep puff of the tobacco pipe and exhaled. The sudden billowing smoke enveloped Tang Ka. Tang Ka quickly defended himself as Xinyu Xiao used this opportunity to distance himself from Tang Ka again. Xinyu Xiao keeps hiding and evading. This situation is making Tang Ka's scalp numb with anger. Xinyu Xiao raised her hand and threw out a red bean. Tang Ka went straight towards Tang Ka, and the attack speed of this red bean completely anticipated Tang Ka's attack. Tang Ka just raised his hand to strike, but the red bean general had already reached him. He had to use this strike to counter the red bean general, and this strike was also forced to change direction. Tang Ka finally realized that the bean casting incantation just now was meant to change the direction of his own spellcasting. Did he already know he was going to use thunder beforehand? Xinyu Xiao also admitted this, accurately revealing Tang Ka's plan. Utilizing the thunder seal blocking characteristic, expand the block range to its maximum. Then gradually reduce the block range until the point where I am forced to engage in combat. Tang Ka's face darkened. He claimed that is to say the technique above my head. It can predict my movements. However, it seems that you are unable to predict the trajectory of spells. With Tang Ka's sly smile, the lightning that just flew into the sky unexpectedly struck Xinyu Xiao's head. Tang Ka formed hand seals and with a turn 2 lightning bolts. Just now it was still a spell of lightning balls, but now it has turned into Ding Lai's 2 lightning bolts. 2 electric lightning eels suddenly appeared and attacked towards Xinyu Xiao. Just as Xinyu Xiao was dazed, Tang Ka's fist was already in front of him. A few drops of blood drifted into the air. Do you know the secrets of the Fangxian school? After licking the opponent's blood, one can actually divine fortunes in the heart. A drop of fresh blood fell on the phone screen, and at this moment, there are 27 seconds left. I am not talented in the Dao, and I have only mastered one kind of talisman art in my whole life. That is the gold talisman art. At this moment, Xinyu Xiao's hands are already covered by gold attribute armor. The sharp and tough aura of the gold seal unexpectedly pierced Tang Ka's cheek, and it dispersed the attacks of Ding Su and lay like crushing dead branches. Although slightly in the lead, Xinyu Xiao still modestly said, "You are still more powerful than me. I need a medium to perform the golden talisman art. And this medium is inside the gloves." Tang Ka no longer has his previous arrogant attitude at this moment. He touched the fresh blood on his face and claimed, "I know you are from the same sect, so please go easy on me." There seems to be no need for that now. Just as the words fell, Xinyu Xiao suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of crisis. It seems as if Xinyu Xiao is facing a monster. Xinyu Xiao quickly distanced himself, thinking that 3 lightning strikes were Tang Ka's limit, but he unexpectedly endured a 4th strike. At this moment, Tang Ka's eyes are shining, and dark purple runes cover his whole body. The 4 lightning strikes are called the Shadow Thunder technique. A crushing force of destruction burst out from Tang Ka's body. Having such a high cultivation level at such a young age puzzled Xinyu Xiao. He took advantage of Tang Ka's blood on his hands not yet dried and decided to first cast a divination. Xian Yuxiu only saw him take a sip of fresh blood and silently activated the technique of sipping blood and casting the heart divination. Xian Yuxiu was overjoyed in his heart, realizing that the person in front of him possessed such a powerful fate. You are indeed the benefactor of Xian Yuxiu. All these events happened in the blink of an eye, so fast that Xian Yuxiu's steps back hadn't even touched the ground yet. But Tang Ka, who had opened the 4 gates, had already arrived in front of Xian Yuxiu. A blurred figure appeared on the right side of Xian Yuxiu. Xian Yuxiu clearly realized that Tang Ka's next attacking direction would be on the right. Just at this moment, a second Tang Ka figure has already appeared on the left side. I can still handle these 2 attack paths myself. I didn't expect that there was an additional attack path later. Tang Ka instantly changed to 3 attack paths with 4 thunders. After the final judgment, Xian Yuxiu's heart completely chilled, because Tang Ka's attack path unexpectedly increased to 6. In Thunder God form, Tang Ka's speed has become so fast that even if Xian Yuxiu predicted the movements, he was unable to react in time. In an instant, the fists fell on Xian Yuxiu like raindrops. Each fist, the size of a sandbag, carried the power of 1,000 kilograms, leaving Xian Yuxiu completely defenseless at the end of the move. Tang Ka's uppercut strike, the dark purple thunderous power sweeps through like a gale, rolling over the mountains. Tang Ka's punch carries the force of 1,000 jin, the immense recoil shattering the ground. Xian Yuxiu, like an arrow leaving the bow, shoots straight into the sky and unbelievably pierces through the clouds above. Under the moonlight, threads of fresh blood glisten. A purple lightning bolt strikes again. Xian Yuxiu was already helpless, yet felt extremely fortunate. With this terrifying power and a strong fate, his lifelong wish finally seemed within reach. But this benefactor before us is like the Yama of Doomsday. Quickly turning around, Xian Yuxiu, who was struck in midair, fell like a bomb. The fluctuation of the attack broke through the accumulated clouds for miles. The immense power directly annihilated the mountaintop. Tang Ka is like a shooting star, leaving a dazzling trail in the sky, landing beside Xian Yuxiu. At this time, the spell on Tang Ka's head has disappeared. It is highly likely that the person in front has lost consciousness. Xian Yuxiu did not really lose his life, but his body is severely injured, and he has lost the ability to move. Tang Ka claimed that you are the first person to make me bleed. Originally thought Fangxian was just a strategist, but after meeting today it turns out he is quite skilled. I was just too careless. I didn't expect you to be proficient in talisman art as well. Although the golden radiance spell is hard to break, the gold talisman art can counteract its golden light. Tang Ka noticed that the golden talisman armor behind Xian Yuxiu had already depleted all of its spirit aura, luckily protecting the head and spine. Otherwise he might have been in real danger. Xian Yuxiu's golden talisman armor began to slowly disintegrate, with fresh blood seeping through the clothing. He coughed up blood heavily, in critical condition. Xian Yuxiu still stood up stubbornly and weakly said, "What happens here is no longer important to me. I work so hard because you lost. I wrapped it in 2 minutes. You said that as long as I can still stand after 2 minutes. Please inform the Yaoguai City Division of what you can promise to do for me. My only request is to become your partner in the Tang clan." Xiao Dao is currently the last successor of the Fangxian faction. Applying to be a member of the Yaoguai City Division should not be an issue. Not to mention that the Yaoguai City Division exam, which takes place once every 3 years, is just around the corner. Xian Yuxiu claimed to make a deal with Tang Ka, while still showing a hesitant expression. He said he just cast a divination that can help you unravel the long-standing knot in your heart. He asked me to join your team. Tang Ka naturally won't believe easily. Xian Yuxiu said that you used to live in Kuan Position, which is more than 200 kilometers away from here. You are a descendant of the Mount Mao school. If I haven't miscalculated, you lived on Maple Prefecture Mountain until you were 18 years old. Recently, a new woman has entered your family, and her destiny is not looking good. You have solved it. Have you never had any doubts all these years? Being able to master 2 kinds of talisman art so proficiently, and having a very high cultivation level. What secrets are hidden in your background? This sentence completely shocked Tang Ka. And right at this critical moment, Xian Yuxiu spat out a mouthful of blood, extremely weak and unable to continue speaking. He was too weak to continue speaking and claimed that he lived on the rooftop of Tang Ka's house. Tang Ka quickly had wind borrowing send Xian Yuxiu back home to recuperate.